I'm on a Christmas kick, y'all. I am trying to get a bunch of stuff done so that once I am back from my retreat next week, I can go full bore into the holiday prep and for our grand opening, which will be, for those in the Midwest, known as Widow's Weekend. It's opening day of hunting, and that is when we're gonna be doing our grand opening. We're gonna have a make and take, we're gonna have goodies. It's gonna be a good time. So mark your calendars if you're local. Make sure you hit us up. I will be putting an event out soon for that. Otherwise, let's get into today's video. So project number one are these really cute little wood rounds. I've used these for a couple different projects. I found them at the thrift store and I bought them all. And we are using Roycycled's Christmas wallpaper. And I have also used this on multiple projects for this Christmas season. I have heard that flannel and plaids are totally trendy this year, and I'm loving it and here for it. So let's get these attached. So we have these all cut to size, and then I'm going to go ahead and mist the paper so that it stretches, and we can decoupage this over our little rounds. We are going to be using DIY liquid patina for our decoupage medium, and we are just going to go ahead and smooth these out, making sure that all those fibers get nice and stretched, and then we're going to peel back a corner and apply our liquid patina and then smooth out that part. And then you can use your fingers or brush, but you do want to seal the top of this too, and you do have a little bit of wiggle room there. You are able to adjust it, just do so very gently. And then we're going to put a coat of the liquid patina on top as well to make sure that everything gets sealed in. And then we're going to set these aside to dry. And for the rest of this project, it is very important that these are completely dry before we move on to the next steps. I do just leave these, I think I left them overnight to dry. I was working on multiple projects and just had gotten to a point where I needed to take a break. So we let these dry overnight before I came back and finished the next step. And the next step is to sand off that extra paper. I am going to be using 220 grit sandpaper on that bright yellow finger sander there. And we're going to sand in a downward motion, and we are going to get all of that excess paper off. And when it's completely dry, it just peels right off. It's like magic, and it leaves you a very clean, beautiful line, and it looks amazing. So I highly recommend using the sandpaper method to trim off your excess paper. If it's wet at all, it will tear it can tear the paper and rip in spots that you don't want it to. So that's the importance of it being super dry. And we are also going to be adding transfers to this. And in order to have the transfers apply, it also needs to be incredibly dry. If there's moisture in there, you're going to have a really hard time getting your transfers to stick. So very important that this is dry before you do this part. Look how easy that just peels off. And the downward motion is just to keep it from ripping it up and off of your item. We're going to be using transfers out of the Iron Orchid Designs 2025 holiday release. For this project, I am picking out transfers from the Winter Botanist. I love this set. And I'm picking out some holly berries, and two of them have like little banners that have words on them, and I'm going to be putting those on the two bigger rounds, and just some I ended up using scraps from another one to put on the little one. So I ended up not having to use this third one here that I'm cutting out. I ended up not using. So I'm going to set that aside for a different project.
Now I'm just seeing how these sit because if they sit, I want to make sure that I'm applying these in a way where I can have this sitting on a shelf and be able to read it. So we're going to peel off our backer, lay our piece down where I want it to go, and use our little transfer stick that comes with all of the Iron Orchid Designs transfers to rub this down. Now I'm going to go over the edge of this really, really carefully so that it cuts the transfer off, and that excess piece I can use on the little one is where I end up using it so that I'm not wasting any of this transfer. So as I'm rubbing this down, I am peeling off that top part, and then I'm going to rub over each of these either with my fingers or with that top layer of vellum, and just make sure all of the air bubbles are out and that this is firmly applied down. And I'm going to repeat this process for each one of these. And then for that last one, we will be adding the little excess pieces from both of these transfers. And then these do need to be sealed in because they are not sealed in and could scratch off, and we want to make sure that we do have the ability to wipe these down or store these safely. So I do put a coat of liquid patina over the top of these. And now that I realize this one can't stand, I'm good to put this however I would like. And again, I'm lining this up in just a way that I can read that little banner that goes across from it. And then around the edges, I'm rubbing extra hard to make sure it cuts that transfer and I can save those excess pieces. And then we are going to peel back that top vellum layer as I am rubbing down. And then once I have this completely on, we will burnish this one in and we will go on to that final piece. And I will show you how I layer these remaining excess pieces onto that tiny little round. I'm going to take those remaining pieces from the previous two little rounds and we're going to layer these together. So I'm going to put this one down and get those berries on here because I really wanted it to have that red carry over. And then we're going to peel that off and then layer in the next one. And this one gave it a lot of coverage and it flowed really well together. I really like how this turned out. And then rub this on, peel off that top layer, burnish it in, and you guys, these are almost done. And as always, stay tuned to the very end where I do show you all of my projects completely finished and staged up. This is the crystal clear liquid chandelier, or crystal clear chandelier liquid patina. And I am just sealing these up. There are a few little pieces that went over the edges, so I'm just making sure that those get sealed as well. For project number two, I've had these two shoe forms for a while. We found them at an estate sale earlier this summer. And the first thing I'm going to do is go in and give this just one good coat of liquid patina to seal in the wood. I really, really love the patina on this and I love the look of it. And I wanted it to maintain that. So by sealing this all in, it's going to keep all that yummy goodness locked in there, and we will be able to apply some transfers to this with no problem at all. And as you can see, I do the underside. I do go over the metal as well because if that gets set on something, we do not want any of the rust to come through. And you can see by my finger there, there's a hole. My plan is to add a bottle brush tree to this for Christmas. So that is how I plan to style it. I did not do that for our photos at the end here, only because I don't have any in the store. And I think, to be honest, I'm completely sold out. So I went in to Winter Botanist and one of the other transfers, I can't remember which one. I think it might have been the Christmas Joy, and I pulled out some transfers that I really liked for this. You see that little like frame with the tan. I ended up not using that. So what I did is I went in and picked out two matching ones for the side, and then this bird here that I'm cutting out is going to go on the top of our little shoe form. I really, really love the birds, and I think that the wood tone and these transfers look amazing together. So I am just kind of placing this how I want it to go on there. And I know because this is a rounded surface, I'm going to need to release some of the tension and do this in steps. So what I'm doing here is just going around the edge and cutting in little darts, just little lines straight into, I'm not cutting up the actual transfer. And then I'm going to cut off just part of this backer paper to start with. And by cutting in the darts, it allows me to bend the paper and get it nice and smooth where I want it to go. So I'm going to start in the middle and work my way down and out to those sides because that will give us no wrinkles and no bubbles in there. And then once I get all of this done down on that bottom part, I'm going to just bend it forward, peel off the rest of that backer, and then do the rest of it the same way. Just rub down in the center first and then start on one side of that center and work over and then go back and work over off of the other side of the center. And that way, again, fewer wrinkles and everything gets applied with no cracking either. And you can see this comes off so super easy now that I have this completely sealed in and there's that nice barrier between the wood and the transfer. Once this is completely applied, we're going to take that top layer here, that plastic, and we're going to rub this down over the transfer to make sure there's no bubbles and that is adhered properly to our little shoe form. And I do go in, there are some like seams in this wood, like where you can adjust the shoe size. And I do go in and make sure with my X-Acto knife that I cut along that line and then take that vellum paper and go over that and burnish it down to make sure all those pieces are down nice and tight as well. And now for the sides, I've chosen these really cute little jingle bells, and I am going to apply these onto one on each side. And I am making sure I like where it's laying, and then it's same thing, you guys. We're gonna lay this down and use that tool to rub it all on. And this is more flat, so did not have to have any of those little darts cut in. I was just able to go ahead and rub this on. I'm gonna peel the top layer off and then burnish it in. And then we're gonna complete the other side the same exact way. And yes, there is a little bit of that shoe form where it's placed together, that line, and I am gonna make sure that it's cut there either with my X-Acto knife or with my little vellum. You can kind of like cut through it and make sure that that's all burnished down. You guys, this turned out so stinking sweet. I love it. So here we are doing the same process and I'm lining it up very much the same way I had it on the other side and doing the exact same thing. This is going to be so pretty with a beautiful, I would love to get a flocked tree for in this. I think it would just accent and make the white in this transfer pop off. I'm really excited about how this turned out. Would you guys have transformed this or would you have left it as it was? So for project number 3, y'all, I'm taking a normal everyday piece of decor and we're transforming it into a holiday piece. Yes, it's a little rooster. So what I am doing is taking some beadboard paint by DIY. This is a clay-based paint that is thick and beautiful and very pigmented, so you get really good coverage. So for this white to go over this red, it was amazing. I did give this little guy 2 coats of the paint, and you see me turning it around, turning it upside down. I want to make sure that I'm getting the underside, that I'm getting all of that bright red and that black covered. I'm also going to paint the bottom of this. Now, before any of you get mad, this is vintage, yes, but it didn't have any markings. It's not any well-known manufacturer that I can tell that I know of. So I did not feel bad painting this. And if somebody hates it, they can just wash this off. Very simple to do. So because this is clay-based, it will need to be sealed either with a wax or a water-based top coat. And I am just going to go in with some liquid patina on this little guy because I want to keep this white. I'm not adding anything extra to it. I'm not going to distress it. We are just going to leave this guy white. And you're thinking, well, that's not very Christmassy. You know what though? The one little thing that I do to this, which you will see at the very end, absolutely makes it Christmassy and also makes it usable year round. So you can just remove the one part and have it year round, or you can leave it and put it away with your holiday stuff. So here we are just adding in that second coat. I let this dry overnight with my other projects and I just go in and I'm stippling in that second coat just to give it not a lot of texture, just a little bit of it, and make sure that it also gets down in between all those details. Make sure you're hanging out here till the very end and you will get to see our final results. I really love all of these pieces, and once I have my store all decked out for the holidays, I can't wait to get updated pictures. Right now, he's just kind of on a shelf. So here we are with all of our final results today.
What did you think of my projects today? I was really excited. I actually think my favorite is the shoe form. I'm gonna get a bottle brush tree and hopefully it's already flocked. Otherwise I'll have to flock it because I want flocking on it, and put it in the little hole on top and then just kind of set it out. It's gonna be so cute. But I do love all of the projects I did today, and I showed you how you can take something very simple, not necessarily holiday related, and turn it into a beautiful holiday decor. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your favorite project was for today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.